Hello, I'm David Rudney. The title of this presentation is Case Study Question Number 1, Community-Based Participatory Research Condom Use Campaign in India. This is based on the 2008 case study, Key Components in Planning, Implementing, and Monitoring a Behavior Change Communication Campaign that Increased Condom Use Among Male Clients of Sex Workers in Southern India. In the next few minutes, you're going to hear my responses to the following questions. First, we'll begin talking about community, the definition, who defines its members, and who makes up the community in the condom use campaign. Second, how well did the program adhere to community-based participatory research principles? So what is a community? The dictionary defines community as people with common interests living in a particular area. You might remember our Unit 4 Lecture 1 provided more granularity and included ways to define a community in addition to common interests such as geography, political and organizational boundaries, race or ethnic group, and common experiences. As to the question of who defines a community, I believe there are many answers. Anyone or any group can define a community, and these definitions may differ depending on who is making the assessment. For example, a business such as a restaurant may define a community as anyone interested in purchasing its goods, and a government agency such as a health department may define a community based on divisions in socio-economic status. The members in a community may define themselves based on a location of its residents, such as those residing in the west part of town versus those residing in the east part of town. Let's move ahead to the question of who is considered to be in the target community with respect to the condom use program. The community in which the intervention was focused may be defined in various ways. This includes sexual preference, gender, behavior, geography, and socioeconomic status. Specifically, the community was defined to be heterosexual males who seek commercial sex workers in 100 priority towns, including the provinces of Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka, Maharashtra, and Tamil Nadu. The community was further narrowed to be those with relatively low socioeconomic status. While not everyone who participated in the intervention program met all of these criteria, these were the key attributes of the community targeted by the researchers. Let's now discuss how well did the condom use program adhere to CBR principles. You can see here a chart showing the 8 principles of CBPR as defined by the University of Michigan's paper, Community-Based Participatory Research, a Partnership Approach for Public Health. Let's review each of these principles and discuss alignment with the condom use program. Principle number 1 is that CBPR recognizes community as a unit of identity. I believe the condom use program aligned with this principle in the sense that the researchers focused their intervention on a group with a common identity, heterosexual men seeking commercial sex workers. The paper on the condom use study indicated that male sex workers were not a cohesive group and was difficult to segment by traditional demographic means. So the intervention was targeted based on geography and hotspot areas. The second principle is that CBPR begins and builds on the strengths and resources that exist within the community. There's evidence the program planners adhere to this principle in that the data was gathered from the community in order to first determine how best to connect to influence behavior. However, I feel there may have been additional opportunities for the researchers to benefit from following this principle if they would have also collaborated with local organizations such as faith-based and neighborhood groups. So the level of adherence to this principle was mixed. The third principle is that CBPR promotes collaborative and equitable partnerships. I believe the spirit of this principle is that CBPR process starts with the determination of the key concerns of the community. However, the Common program did not do this. Instead, the program planners already had in mind what they were trying to accomplish. Their goal was to meet the needs of their funder, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, to perform an intervention to help reduce the impact of AIDS in India. So they already began with the end in mind. For the program planners to truly follow this principle, they would need to first reach out to the community and do a needs assessment. The results may or may not identify HIV/AIDS as an area of top concern. For example, the community may have indicated their primary interest is the need to address poor sanitary conditions and lack of access to clean water. This need could have been the basis for which the program was designed around. However, since the funder already had a specific need to be dealt with, the Condom Use program was not amenable to following this principle. The fourth principle is that CBPR facilitates co-learning and capacity building. There is evidence that this principle was followed in that the program planners learned from the community. However, the learning did not appear equally to be a two-way street. The researchers certainly learned about the Indian culture as well as beliefs of male clients of sex workers in the areas of opportunity, ability, and motivation. In addition, a team of experts in New Delhi provided technical assistance in the development of messaging themes. However, based on the information provided in the study, it is not clear how the community members were able to enhance their skills. Although, it may be inferred the locals who participate in activities such as street theater increased their knowledge of some effective ways for improving consistent condom use in their community. The fifth principle is that CBPR integrates and creates a balance between knowledge generation and action for the mutual benefit of partners. The planners of the Condom Use campaign followed this concept as the program's interventions were based on research findings. The program made extensive use of quantitative and qualitative research, and results were used to craft the communication campaign to influence condom use. While the planners do not mention a specific change in policy as a result of the study, they do mention an ongoing objective is to identify the best mix of activities to maintain consistent usage of condoms. The sixth principle is that CBPR focuses on the determinants of health from a local standpoint within the context of a broader ecological approach. The researchers did an excellent job following this principle in that they thoroughly studied their target audience by administering a behavior change survey and utilizing the results to drive the program's communication activities. For example, the determinant of positive beliefs about condoms was correlated with a 5.12 times increased likelihood of consistent condom usage as compared to those with less positive beliefs. These include beliefs such as condoms will not break or slip off if correctly used and must always be used each time engaging in sex with commercial sex workers. The researchers subsequently translated this knowledge into communication themes as part of the condom usage education program. The seventh principle is that CBPR disseminates findings to all partners and involves partners in the dissemination process. Data was collected through the project's reporting system, including number of contacts made by media channels such as street theater. While the results of the study were distributed to the program funders, there is no evidence findings were shared with the members of the community themselves, and therefore there is insufficient information to conclude Principle 7 was followed. The eighth principle is that CBPR promotes a long-term process and commitment to sustainability. Based on the information provided in the study, it appears the researchers wish to sustain the program, although specifics are not provided. In the discussion section, the program planners indicate their ongoing objective is to identify the right mix of activities to maintain proper use of condoms in the community. The conclusion is that an effective communication program can be a powerful means of increasing consistent condom use. There is no mention that the program planners desire to maintain relationships in the community beyond their research project. While a blueprint for a potentially successful condom use program is in place, it remains to be seen if a long-term commitment of resources will be available to sustain the program. In conclusion, based on the results and the reasons you previously heard, here's a summary of how well the researchers adhere to each principle using a Likert scale. Principle 7 and 8, very bad. Principle 3, bad. Principle 2, average. Principles 1, 4, and 5, good. And principle 6, very good. Thank you.